This is one of the most beautiful spots in the entire city that I live in, the Red Hill Valley. It's just this beautiful, massive valley full of hiking trails and bike paths and rivers and waterfalls, or at least they used to all look like this, but it's a lot smaller now because now a bunch of it looks like this. This is the Red Hill Valley Expressway. It was put in about 20 years ago to make a route from the downtown up to the top of the escarpment over there. And when the construction started, people were furious. They climbed trees and made barricades to try to stop the city from ripping out this massive green space. People were angry, and rightfully so. Over the years of being involved in my city, I've dealt with a whole bunch of different issues, and my anger has kind of been riled up at different points. But lately, I've felt a change in myself, but also in the world. I mean, does anybody else feel like lately, everyone has been angry about everything all the time? And that's led me to ask a question that I think is important for all of us to ask. What is the point of our anger? Okay, so let's start with Jesus. That's a good place to start. Jesus had a very complicated relationship with anger. One of the most famous stories of Jesus is the time that he entered into Jerusalem and marched up to the temple. And the temple would have been the head of the entire religious system. And Jesus, a Jewish person, walks into the Jewish temple, and where the money changers are, exchanging money, maybe making a bit of money off of the worship of God, something that used to happen back then. And he grabs the tables where they're exchanging the money and he flips them up like right all over the place, coins spilling, people running around, and then he grabs a bunch of cords and makes a whip and he starts whipping at the animals, not the people. We don't hurt people, we don't hurt animals either. It was a long time ago. He's getting the animals out that they would have been sacrificing. Aha! So he's saving their lives. And then when everybody's freaking out, animals running all over the place, coins rolling all around, he just disappears. He's gone. Poof. That's badass. But also, that's how Jesus got angry. He disrupted the whole system non-violently in the middle of the day, showing his face, not some lovely man that just ran by me, not some like anarchist on Lock Street, if you're from Canada and you heard that story. Direct theatrical action. As if to say, this whole system is corrupt and I'm going to now model a better way to do it. So Jesus got angry, but as the New Testament goes on, there are other teachings on anger that we have to consider. There's texts that say, do not in your anger sin. So being angry isn't sinning, but it might cause you to sin. And that same text ends with, do not let the sun go down on your anger. There's another text that says that human anger cannot create the right way of being, justice, righteousness, in the way that God imagines it. Our anger is too fragile to create a truly just world. Now, I used to think that all the warnings in Scripture about anger were so that we didn't do something bad to someone else, but what if they are just as concerned with what anger does to us? The truth is that anger can be useful to like kick you off into something. It's a great motivator to get started, but as a way of living, it's pretty toxic. When you become a person who's constantly feeling angry, get this, you become an angry person. I remember a few years ago when I was in the kind of thick of wanting to do things right and be a force for good in the world, and I couldn't go to a movie, I couldn't listen to music on the radio, I couldn't order food from a restaurant without in some way just becoming angry that it wasn't done perfectly justly. I wanted to make sure that everything I participated in was 100% right. And the hard thing with that is that we live in a world of imperfect people with imperfect businesses and imperfect churches. And if the only way for me to not be angry was for everything to be perfect, according to, of course, my standard of perfect, then I was going to be angry for a very long time. And when you live that kind of angry life and your eye gets evil and everything you see makes you angry, that anger turns to bitterness, and that bitterness turns to misery. And I can tell when it's turning toxic because I lose my joy. I can't laugh anymore. I take everything so seriously. I'm constantly anxious and frustrated. That's no way to be human. I saw this tweet a while ago that said, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. And I think that that's true, in that there's a lot of stuff happening that we should be angry about. But I'd also say, if you're always angry, you're not going to be much good to anyone else. There's this quote by Friedrich Nietzsche that's probably fitting here that says, beware you who fight with monsters, that you do not become a monster yourself. For when you look into the abyss looks back. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had also, like Jesus, because he was very Jesus-like, a very complicated relationship with anger. And he said that hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. We need to find ways of turning that righteous anger into a powerful, active love, and that might actually drive out hate. Meg and I were talking the other day about all of this anger stuff, and Meg said, Kevin, I love your passion, but you're at your best when it's matched by empathy. And that's how I knew that I was beginning to lose something of myself in my fight for what's right, that I had, to put it in Jesus' language, a plank in my eye. And I want to help get the specks out of the eyes of everyone else and the entire world and system, but to do it, I've got to start by taking care of my own soul. Get the plank out of my eye so that I can use my anger and not have my anger use me. So maybe it's a good time to throw it out to all of you. It's Wednesday. Are you angry yet? Have you been on Twitter? Have you read the news? There's lots to be angry about, but how are you going to ensure that you are using your anger and not being used by it? Maybe here's some advice. Take some time for your own soul. If you're feeling angry and frustrated and it's beginning to make you less joyful and less empathetic and loving, then try this. Turn off your phone. Or go off of social media. Maybe just a 24-hour cleanse. Go for a walk. Listen to the birds all around us. I don't know. Just do something that's going to help you settle. Ask God to remove the plank from your own eye so that you can see the world clearly enough to be part of getting the specks out. And with that, we're back in business after 2 weeks away. Good Word Wednesday, every Wednesday on this channel. So hit subscribe, hit the bell thing for the notification, and also I'm going to be doing some book reviews on Instagram TV, the vertical content thing that they've got going on. So go follow me on Instagram at Kevin Makins, and you'll get some good books for your summer reading list. Oh, a deer! That was the most beautiful thing ever.